Never give your partner another chance if they did these 5. I am Bonang Matheba, and right now I'm talking directly to you, beautiful. Yes, you, the one sitting there with your phone in your hand, heart racing a little because you already know what I'm about to say hits home. I've been exactly where you are. I've looked into eyes I loved and heard lies slide out like they were the easiest truth in the world. And I want to start with the very first thing that should make you close the door forever, when he can lie straight to your face and not even blink. I remember the night it finally clicked for me. I was 29, dressed up for a dinner we'd planned for weeks. He walked in late, phone face down, smelling like someone else's perfume, and said he'd been stuck in a meeting. The same meeting he told me ran long 3 weeks before. The same meeting that somehow always happened when certain names popped up on his Instagram likes. I asked him point blank, were you with her? And he looked me dead in my eyes, voice calm, almost bored, and said, baby, I would never. No stutter, no sweaty palms, no flicker of shame, just cold, practiced nothing. And in that moment, something inside me broke open because I realized this wasn't a man who slipped up. This was a man who had rehearsed the lie so many times it felt more real to him than the truth ever could. Sis, when someone can look at you, someone they claim to love, and lie without a single crack in their armor, they're not just hiding something. They're showing you how little respect they have for your intelligence, your heart, and your peace. A one-time lie out of fear or panic is human. But a man who has turned lying into an art form, that's a lifestyle. That's a choice he wakes up and makes every single day. And the scariest part is how good he gets at it. The stories line up perfectly. The details never trip him up. He'll have receipts, alibis, even tears if he needs them. And every time you catch him and he talks his way out of it, he learns exactly how much he can get away with next time. I stayed after that night. I told myself grown people make mistakes. I told myself love means giving grace. But what I was really doing was training him that my boundaries were made of paper. Every time I swallowed the lie, I handed him a sharper knife. And girls, listen to me. Once a man knows he can lie to your face and you'll still cook for him, still sleep next to him, still defend him to your friends, he no longer sees you as a partner. He sees you as territory he's already conquered. The moment a lie that big leaves his mouth without a flinch, he has already decided you don't deserve the truth. And you cannot build a life with someone who has already voted you out of the category of people worth honesty. That was the first crack in my heart that taught me some cracks don't heal. They only get wider if you keep pretending they're not there. By the time I turned 31, I had cried the same tears so many times I could set my watch to them. Same fight, same betrayal, same I'm sorry it'll never happen again, same 2 weeks of peace before the cycle started all over. And I want to reach through the screen and hold your face in my hands and tell you the third time you cry over the exact same wound is the moment you stop calling it a mistake and start calling it a pattern. I used to keep count like it was some kind of twisted game. First time he disappeared for a whole weekend, I cried, he came back with flowers and promises. Second time, I cried harder, he cried with me, swore on everything he loved me too much to lose me. Third time, I didn't even have tears left. I just sat on the bathroom floor, staring at the wall, realizing I'd become a professional at forgiving the unforgivable. Sweetheart, 1 tear is an accident, 2 tears is a warning, 3 tears over the exact same pain is emotional abuse you're signing up for voluntarily. Because now he knows the script by heart. He knows exactly how long to wait before the I miss you texts start. He knows which exact words melt you. He knows you'll fold because leaving feels scarier than staying. And every time you take him back after that 3rd round of tears, you teach him your pain has an expiration date. You teach him heartbreak is just a speed bump on his way to doing whatever he wants. I remember the night of the 3rd time, clear as day, I had just found the messages again. Same girl, new excuses. I called him shaking. Told him I was done, told him I couldn't breathe in this relationship anymore. And he showed up at my door at 2 a.m. with that voice, the soft one he only used when he knew he was about to lose me, and said, baby, I'm a work in progress. Don't give up on me. And I let him in. I let him hold me while I cried the same tears I swore would be the last one. That night, I didn't just let him back in my bed. I let him back in my future. I handed him years of my life on a silver platter because I was too afraid to eat alone at restaurants or explain to my family why it didn't work out. The 3rd time is when you have to be brutally honest with yourself. If he wanted to change, he would have after the first or second round of devastation. If he hated seeing you cry, he would have stopped doing the thing that caused it. But he didn't. Because your tears became part of the price he was willing to pay to keep living exactly how he wanted. And baby girl, no love in the world is worth becoming a broken record of your own pain. The third time you cry over the same thing is the universe screaming at you to stop hitting snooze on your self-respect. The worst kind of damage doesn't leave bruises you can see. It leaves doubts that echo inside your head for years. And the third thing I will never forgive, the one that almost destroyed me completely, is when he started making me feel like my feelings were the problem. Like wanting respect made me too much. Like needing honesty made me too sensitive. Like asking him to act like I mattered made me dramatic. It started small. I'd bring up something that hurt me and he'd roll his eyes, say, here we go again. I'd ask why he was texting someone at 1 a.m. And he'd laugh, tell me I was paranoid, that I needed to trust more. I'd cry and he'd say, see, this is why I don't tell you things. You always overreact. And slowly, so slowly, I didn't even notice, I started apologizing for having feelings. I started shrinking. I started thinking maybe I really was too emotional, too needy, too everything. Sis, when a man starts rewriting your reality to make his behavior okay, that's called gaslighting, and it is emotional terrorism. When he makes you feel crazy for wanting the bare minimum, loyalty, honesty, respect, he is dismantling your confidence one you're overreacting at a time. I used to stand in front of the mirror rehearsing conversations in my head, trying to find the right way to bring things up so he wouldn't call me crazy. I was walking on eggshells in my own life, terrified of my own voice. The day I knew I had to leave for good was the day he looked at me after I found proof he'd been living a whole double life and said, if you weren't so insecure, this wouldn't even be a problem. That sentence broke something loose in me. Because in that moment I saw it clearly, he wasn't trying to fix anything. He was trying to make me believe I was the one who needed fixing. He wanted me quiet, he wanted me doubtful, he wanted me grateful for whatever scraps he decided to throw my way. Listen to me, darling, you are not too much for wanting to be treated like you matter. You are not crazy for expecting the person who says they love you to act like it. Your feelings are not a burden. Your standards are not too high. The right man will never make you feel like loving you is hard work. He will never punish you for having a heart. If he's making you question your worth, if he's making you feel small to keep himself comfortable, if he's turning your pain into your fault, run. Because a man who loves you will protect your peace, not destroy it. The day you stop letting someone convince you that you're the problem for wanting respect is the day you start healing. And trust me, Queen, healing feels so much better than being understood by someone who never planned to love you right in the first place. You know that version of him that suddenly shows up when you finally had enough? The one who sends paragraphs at 3 a.m., leaves roses on your windshield, cries in your driveway, books the trip y'all always talked about, posts throwbacks with captions like, I can't lose my queen. Yeah, that version. The one that feels like the man you fell in love with finally woke up. That version only comes out when he smells the end. And baby, that's not love, that's hoovering. That's a panic button, not a personality change. I call it the Academy Award season because the performance is Oscar-worthy. He will move mountains for exactly 2 to 4 weeks. He'll answer on the first ring, plan dates, go to therapy, pray with you, whatever it takes to pull you back in. And you'll think, see, he just needed to see I was serious about leaving. No, sis, he just needed to see you were serious about leaving. There's a difference. One is growth. The other is survival. I fell for it 3 different times. Third time was the charm that almost killed my spirit. I had packed my bags, changed the locks, told my mama everything. And there he was, sitting on my porch with a letter he wrote by hand, tears streaming, voice cracking, saying he'd been scared to lose me, so he sabotaged everything. But now he was ready. Ready. That word tasted like hope, and I swallowed it whole. 2 weeks later, the flowers were dead. The paragraphs turned back into one-word replies, and I was right back crying in the same shower. Because the second he felt the grip tighten again, the mask slipped right off. Here's the truth they don't tell you. Real change doesn't have an expiration date. Real change doesn't wait until you're 1 foot out the door. Real change starts the first time he sees you hurt, not the 5th time you threaten to leave. If the only time he acts right is when he's terrified of losing access to you, then what he loves is not you. What he loves is the comfort of knowing you'll stay no matter what he does. And comfort is not love. Comfort is convenience wearing love's clothes. When a man only becomes the partner you deserve at the 11th hour, he's not transforming, he's negotiating. And queens don't negotiate with terrorists of the heart. The moment you recognize that his best behavior is just a limited time offer, you take your power back forever. Forgiveness is sacred. It's medicine for the soul. But some people turn it into a drug they keep overdosing on while you foot the bill. And the fifth thing that should make you walk away and never look back is when he starts treating your forgiveness like permission. Like every I forgive you is a blank check he can cash the next time he feels like hurting you. I used to wear forgiveness like it was proof of how deep my love ran. I'd say it through tears. I just love you too much to hold on to this. And he'd nod, kiss my forehead, tell me I was the best woman he'd ever had. Then 2 months later, he'd do the exact same thing, sometimes worse, because in his mind, my forgiveness had already cleared the path. He didn't have to change. He just had to wait for me to calm down. And calm down, I did. Every single time. There's a moment I still think about when shame creeps in. I was on my knees, literally on my knees in our living room, begging him to tell me the truth about where he'd been. And when he finally admitted it, he looked relieved, not sorry, relieved, because he knew the routine. I'd cry, I'd pray, I'd forgive, we'd make love, and the cycle would reset. My mercy became his favorite loophole. Sweetheart, forgiveness without consequences is just enabling. And love is not a courtroom where you keep letting the same criminal off with no sentence. Every time you forgive without requiring real accountability, you're telling him your boundaries are suggestions, not rules. You're telling him your heart is a revolving door. And revolving doors don't lead to healing. They lead to more traffic, more dirt, more damage. The last time I forgave him, I looked in the mirror the next morning and didn't recognize the woman staring back. Hollow eyes, tight smile, rehearsed, I'm fine. That's when I understood I wasn't forgiving him to free my heart. I was forgiving him to keep him. And keeping him was costing me never again. Forgiveness is beautiful, but it is not infinite when it's being weaponized against your peace. The day you stop handing out forgiveness like coupons is the day you start protecting the woman God created you to be. 7 years, let that sink in. 7 years of my prime, of my pretty, of my dreams on hold, because I genuinely believed that if I loved him hard enough, prayed long enough, stayed loyal enough, he would finally become the man I kept seeing in my imagination. I want to wrap my arms around every single one of you who's doing the same thing right now and whisper, baby, you cannot love a cactus into a rose. People told me, my mama, my best friend, the lady who did my braids, even the Uber driver one night. Everybody saw it but me. Because when you love someone, your heart builds an entire museum of potential. You walk around admiring exhibits that don't exist yet. Future husband, changed man, father of my kids. And you pay the entry fee with your tears, your time, your body, your mental health. I curated that museum for 7 years, kept it spotless, added new wings every time he showed a glimmer of hope. I had spreadsheets in my head of all the times he promised change. I had calendars marked with turning points that never turned. I lost friends because I defended him. I missed opportunities because I was scared to be too far away when he finally got it. I turned 35 in that relationship, still waiting for the man I met at 28 to show up. 35. And one day I was folding his laundry, and I found a receipt from a hotel I never knew about. And instead of rage, I felt tired, bone tired, soul tired. That was the first time I admitted out loud I stayed 7 years for a man who was never coming. Here's what I need you to hear louder than anything else I've said. Hope is not a strategy. Potential is not a promise. And love is not a magic wand you wave over someone's character defects until they disappear. If he has shown you for years that he is comfortable hurting you, he is not one good woman away from transformation. He is one consequence away, maybe. But you are not the consequence. You are the prize. And prizes don't chase. Prizes get chosen. I walked out with 2 suitcases and a heart that felt like it had been through a war. But the moment that door closed behind me, I took the deepest breath I'd taken in almost a decade. 7 years is a long time to hold your breath for someone else. Don't waste 7 months, 7 weeks, or even 7 more days on a maybe that has already proven itself to be a never. The man who is meant for you will not require a decade of your life as down payment. He will step into your world already knowing your worth, not needing you to spend years convincing him. The morning I left wasn't dramatic. No screaming, no slammed doors, no rain pouring like in the movies. It was a Tuesday, quiet and sunny. I woke up before the alarm, looked at the man snoring next to me, and felt nothing. Not hate, not love, just nothing. That emptiness scared me more than any fight ever had, because it meant my heart had finally clocked out. I packed the last of my things while he was still asleep. 3 suitcases, my favorite candles, the journals I'd hidden under the bed so he wouldn't read them. I left the key on the kitchen counter next to the coffee machine he loved more than he ever loved mornings with me. And when I walked out and pulled that door shut, the click sounded like freedom speaking in its softest voice. The first week was hell. My body didn't know what to do with peace. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the angry texts, for the guilt trips, for the 3 a.m. I miss you that used to pull me right back in. But my phone stayed quiet in the way only silence can scream. I cried in my new apartment, not because I missed him, but because I was grieving the version of me who thought she didn't deserve better. I sat on the floor, surrounded by boxes, and realized I had spent almost a decade shrinking to fit into someone else's small idea of love. And for the first time in years, I stretched. I took up space. I turned the music up loud. I danced in my underwear. I cooked for one and didn't feel lonely. I started breathing with my whole chest again. People kept asking if I was okay, like leaving should have broken me. But the truth is, staying had already broken me into pieces so small I didn't recognize myself. Leaving was the part where I started gluing the pieces back together. I went to therapy and said the things out loud I used to only whisper in my head. I told my girlfriends everything and watched them love me harder instead of judging me. I took myself on dates, brunches where I didn't have to check my phone, movies where I didn't flinch at every notification, and slowly, the woman I used to be started waving at me from the other side of the mirror. She looked taller. She smiled easier. She didn't apologize for taking up space anymore. Leaving wasn't the end of my story. It was the first page of the chapter where I finally became the main character again. And Queen, if you're scared to leave because you think the pain will kill you, know this: the pain of staying when your soul has already checked out will kill you slower, quieter, and with no one there to mourn the woman you used to be. After I left, I spent a long time terrified that all men were the same, that maybe I was the problem, that maybe love always had to hurt. Then I started paying attention to the couples around me who were doing it right, quietly, consistently, without posting every second of it online. And I realized real love doesn't make noise. It makes safety. It doesn't keep score. It keeps promises. Let me paint the picture for you so clearly that when it walks into your life, you'll recognize it in the first 5 minutes. Real love answers the phone when you call, not because they're scared you'll leave, but because hearing your voice is their favorite part of the day. Real love doesn't make you explain why you're hurt for the 100th time. It hears you the first time and moves accordingly. Real love plans a future that includes you without you having to beg for a seat at the table. It remembers how you take your coffee, shows up when your grandma's sick, holds your hair when you're throwing up, celebrates your wins louder than their own. Real love argues yes, but it argues to understand, not to win. It says, I'm sorry, and means it with action, not just words. It chooses you on the days you're hard to love, not just the days you're easy. Real love doesn't keep you guessing. It removes the guesswork. You won't have to decode mixed signals or translate silence. You'll go to bed knowing exactly where you stand because they told you, they showed you, and tomorrow they'll do it again. Real love doesn't make you smaller so they can feel bigger. It builds you up so high you forget there was ever a time you doubted your crown. It's calm. It's steady. It's the kind of love your nervous system trusts on sight. I met a man like that a couple years after I left. Not perfect, but safe. The first time he held my hand in public, he didn't let go when his boys walked by. The first time we fought, he didn't call me crazy. He said, I hear you and I don't want you to feel that way again. Help me fix it. And he did. Not for a week, not until I calmed down. He did the work until the trigger was gone. That's when I knew love isn't supposed to feel like walking through a minefield blindfolded. It's supposed to feel like coming home to someone who's already got the porch light on for you. You deserve the kind of love that doesn't make you write pros and cons lists at 2 a.m. You deserve the kind of love that makes your friends say, girl, I've never seen you glow like this. And until that love finds you, be that love for yourself first. The hardest part after leaving wasn't missing him. It was figuring out who I was when I wasn't someone's fixer, someone's ride or die, someone's emotional punching bag disguised as a girlfriend. I had given so much of myself away that when it was just me in the apartment, I felt hollow. Like I'd been a vending machine of love and loyalty, and someone had taken everything, even the coins. So I started the slow, sacred work of filling myself back up. And I want to walk you through it, because if I could do it, so can you. First, I stopped talking bad about myself out loud. Every time I caught myself saying, I was so stupid for staying, I corrected it to, I was loyal to someone who didn't know how to receive it. Language matters. The way you speak to yourself becomes the house you live in. I started speaking to me the way I would speak to my little sister if she'd been through the same thing. Gentle, proud, protective. Then I made a list of everything I used to love before I met him. Painting my nails, crazy colors, reading romance novels in the bathtub, dancing to old school R&B in the kitchen while cooking curry. I did one thing from that list every single day until joy stopped feeling foreign. I bought myself flowers on Fridays just because I could. I wore the red dress I saved for special occasions to the grocery store, because existing while happy is the most special occasion there is. I went to therapy and learned that self-love isn't bubble baths and affirmations when you're having a good day. Self-love is choosing yourself when it's hard. It's blocking his number when he tries to crawl back. It's saying no to situations that feel like the old you. It's looking in the mirror on the days you feel unlovable and saying, I'm still here, and that's enough. Self-love is boundaries with teeth. It's forgiveness for the years you didn't know better, and commitment to never repeating them now that you do. I started celebrating my solitude instead of surviving it. Solo movie nights became date nights with the woman I was becoming. I traveled alone. I sat in restaurants alone and didn't hide behind my phone. I learned that being by myself didn't mean I was alone. It meant I was in the best company I'd ever had. And somewhere between the first solo trip and the 100th I love you I whispered to my own reflection, I fell back in love with being Bonang. Not the version someone else approved of. The full, unapologetic, take up space version. You don't find yourself again overnight. You find yourself in the quiet moments when you choose you over the familiar pain. You find yourself in the mornings you wake up without dread. You find yourself when you stop asking, why wasn't I enough? And start declaring, I'm already everything. The love you gave away so freely, redirect it, pour it back into the woman who never stopped fighting for you, even when you forgot she was there. She's waiting, baby, she never left. I want you to imagine something with me for a second. Picture yourself 1 year from today. Not the version of you who's still refreshing his story, still rereading old texts, still sleeping with the phone face down just in case he calls. I want you to picture the version of you who chose herself so fiercely that peace became her new normal. The version who wakes up without that knot in her stomach. The one whose laugh is loud again, whose shoulders aren't carrying yesterday's apologies. The one who looks in the mirror and sees a woman who knows deep in her bones that she's the prize, not the consolation. That woman is not a fantasy. She is your future. If you decide right now that you are done auditioning for a role someone keeps rewriting you out of. She is waiting on the other side of the hardest decision you will ever make, the decision to stop watering dead things and start watering yourself. Here's what I know for sure after everything. The love you are crying over tonight is not the best love you will ever have. It is simply the love you have known the longest. There is a love coming that will not require you to shrink, to beg, to explain, to forgive the unforgivable, or to earn it. It will not show up late and call it fashion. It will not make you question your memory, your worth, your sanity. It will not ask you to choose between your peace and its presence. That love is on its way, but it cannot pull into the driveway until you move the broken down car that's been parked there for years. You are not behind. You are not too old. You are not too damaged. You are not too much. You are right on time, exactly where you need to be to finally learn the lesson that will save the rest of your life. Nobody gets to decide your value except you. And the moment you raise your price, the universe starts negotiating in your favor. So if you are sitting there with wet cheeks and a heavy heart, do one thing for me tonight. Close your eyes and make a promise to the little girl inside you who still believes in magic. Promise her that you will never again let someone treat her like she is ordinary when she was born to be legendary. Promise her that the next time someone shows you they are comfortable hurting you, you will believe them the first time. Promise her that her heart is no longer open for business to anyone who cannot afford to keep it safe. Then open your eyes and do the scariest, bravest, most loving thing you have ever done. Choose you. Block the number. Delete the pictures. Cancel the just checking in text you had typed out. Walk away while you still have enough of yourself left to rebuild something beautiful. Because the truth is, Queen, leaving is not giving up. Leaving is the moment you finally start winning. You deserve mornings that feel like mercy. You deserve nights that feel like home. You deserve a love so loud in its consistency that silence never scares you again, and you will have it. Not because you waited for someone to get it right, but because you stopped waiting for the wrong person to become the right one. I am living proof that the other side is everything they said it would be and more. My heart is full, my bed is mine, my laughter belongs to me again, and I have never once regretted choosing me. I wake up grateful for the woman who cried on that bathroom floor years ago because she finally loved me enough to save me. So this is my last whisper to you before I let you go. You are already enough. You have always been enough. And the only thing standing between you and the love you deserve is the version of you who is still willing to settle for less. Walk away, baby. Walk toward yourself with everything you have. The rest of your life is waiting, and it is so proud of you for finally coming home. If this spoke to your soul, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with the word enough so I know you felt this. Like it, share it with every sister who needs to hear she's worth more than the pain she's holding. Turn on notifications because I'm not done pouring into you yet. We rise together and we never settle again. I love you. Now go be the love story you've been praying for.